In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Well, on that note, hi, Chadwick.
There's a high note at that. How you doing, Frank?
Yeah, well, a high note, not a high note. Certainly not.
Whoa.
What a way to start a
Save it for the
podcast.
next episode.
For the record, I'm staunchly anti-Axis of Evil. I'm glad those guys went down. Let's just set the record straight. Speaking of our sordid past, 20 years ago was 2004. I was in junior college. What were you doing? Were you on the
2004? Yeah, Miller Lite time, by the way. 2004.
As always.
I literally just got out of the military the year prior. I was going to college full time and working 2 part-time jobs.
Perfect.
So that was my 04.
So neither of us were 04 rich in period.
Even close. Not even,
no,
dude. I even in my description, I even wrote up like in 2004, what was I piloting? In 2004, so I had a Mitsubishi Galant VR4, a 91, and I had a 92 Civic hatchback, an EG hatchback with a VTEC swap, because that was my reliable daily that was good on fuel, but still fun. And the Galant was my bad weather because I was still in Maine at the time, so needed a winter car, and that was my kind of cool car. So combined, I think I paid $6,000 to $7,000 for both of those cars.
So in 04, I think, you know what I had? So in 04, I had, for sure, there might be a couple of like random cars that I juggled for like an hour, but I still had the Barracuda, obviously, though it was in the very beginning stages of its hibernation.
Okay.
And then early 04, I had my red 89 Toyota 4Runner V6 Auto SR5.
Nice.
And then I was tired of getting roughly 10 miles a gallon. So I sold it, and then I bought my 85 Celica Supra.
Oh.
And I had that. I think I picked that up at like the end of summer. And then that was my runabout car.
Very cool.
Going into that semester of junior college at Diablo Valley College. So neither of us were particularly 04 rich, but are you familiar with this phenomenon, the 04 rich phenomenon?
No, I just know money went a lot further back then. I actually looked up some financial information, which will be fun to go over. But yeah, what's 04 rich?
It's a thing.
Really?
And really all it is, it's like people reminiscing to like what was like a baller ass car in 2004 that you can now buy 20 years later for not a ton of money. And while that's like the current 04 rich thing, and we can touch on that, but I mostly wanted to talk about just the cars in 2004 in general, like stuff that was interesting, stuff that was maybe less interesting. But I think it was a really cool year for both expensive, like the 04 rich thing, right? But also like just interesting cars from 2004, right?
Yeah, and we're talking exactly 2 decades ago. I wanted to throw one number before we jump in. I think this is the most, it sums it up, appropriate number. Average new vehicle, I looked it up after this third quarter of 2024, was just at $48,000. That is an average new vehicle, folks.
What do you think it was back then? Like 20?
In 2004, you're close. $21,646. So less than half the price.
Yeah, like 40%. Yeah.
Looking wild. Just absolutely wild. I was kind of shocked. I knew it was going to be significantly lower, but that's a very low number.
Since we're talking about 04, would you say it was shock and awe? Is how you were shocked? No. Yeah. Well, we got to work on like a whole like Bush puns. I don't know.
I shook that man's hand, so I can't.
Oh wow! Exactly.
Yeah,
like burned. Like
we just spent the night drinking like a ton of vodka, and we wrecked the car for the 3rd time, and we were both in the ditch. And he's like, oh, "You've been a great co-pilot, sir." And I'm like, "You too, man."
You know what? Like, as politics aside, if you had to pick any president to like drink several cheap beers with, it's probably him, right? Like he's kind of the guy.
100, dude. That was apparently it was like balls to the wall hilarious. So
I can see Obama being pretty good to like he'd be like the I feel like he'd get like drunk and then just like have deep conversations like your stoner friend who like has too many edibles and then like solves mysteries or like talks about conspiracy theories and aliens.
so
I
wait,
feel like that would be drunk Obama.
nothing about Biden like whispering in your ear really close with his hands on your shoulders.
Trying to like suck your soul out of your ear.
Got stem cells in there for Uncle Joe.
Yeah, Trump would just grope you and make it all about him. It would be a whole thing.
I would love that.
Yeah. But the whole like 2004. So yeah, so the '04 rich thing, it's like this new popular, it's like meme, it's kind of meme heavy, right? About like somebody rolling around in an '04 Range Rover or what have you.
Sure.
But like have you had any '04 or '04 adjacent, maybe plus or minus a couple of years, cars that you've been fond of? I know you've had a handful. I've had a handful.
Definitely had a shit ton of them. Because I went back and I'm like, okay, '04. What can you buy new? And I didn't even set a high thing. I went 25K, which used to be a good amount to get a cool car. Dude, in '04, what did we have? We had WRXs. We had Golf GTIs. A loaded Honda Accord could get you. You could get a very nice one in the mid-20s. You could get a Miata loaded to the gills. It's like insane.
You get RSX.
Yeah. Dude, what?
Yeah.
For 25 or less.
I don't think you can get a TL. I think the TLs were in the 30s.
Yeah.
You get a TSX.
20s, low 30s. Yeah. But what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
25K.
You can still get the Celica, right? So you can get a Celica GTS, Corolla XRS, Matrix XRS, Vibe GT. Those were all 25K or less cars that were interesting. Could you get an entry level 3 Series?
Ooh,
for 25, like a base 325i?
I don't think
probably
like that's going to be
28, 28, 29 for like a stripper model.
Maybe just to get in the door at that price point, they probably would sell one. No one ever bought one. One was never made.
There was like one, just so they can say they starting at.
Dude, just rolling out, coming home with a
350Z probably.
Oh,
you probably get you can probably get a base 350Z, right? For 25.
I don't think
maybe
so.
Not.
That's going to be like 28, 29 probably.
Yeah.
But dude, going out, coming home with a brand new WRX, going home in a new GTI in the mid 20s. What a fucking deal. What a lot of car for the price, right? Both of those options, right?
Oof. Yeah, like there were it's and I don't know if it's like, I mean, we just introed this about what we were doing in 2004, and so I don't know if that like we're just of the age that is finding a fondness for cars of this era. But there were a lot of manufacturers that was like, this was their peak. Like I wouldn't say like Chevrolet was their peak or Ford, even though Ford was making some cool stuff.
Yeah.
But like
Volkswagen for sure.
Certainly Volkswagen, certainly Infiniti and Nissan to a certain extent. Lexus had some bangers. Yeah,
Subaru really
like 05 probably, when you start looking at the legacy lineup and how big of a leap that made. But like, yeah, Subaru was just putting out hits. Acura was still very, very relevant.
Yep.
Mazda was in this kind of flux period, but they had like, you know, some heavy Ford influence, but you had the first Mazda 3, right? You couldn't could you get a Speed 3 in 04?
They didn't come out to
05.
I want to say 05, 06 were like the first years of that.
Yeah, but it was, you know, it was December to remember time, so to speak, and you could have bought your 05 in 04.
Just what a crazy amount of metal for that price. You know what the worst part is? To go back and think of used car values. And I called out some, and I very much remember during this time, like friends, like coworkers, maybe a little after 04, but around that time period coming to me and being like, look what I just bought for this amount. And I was like, wow, I don't know if that's a good deal. But in retrospect, it's an insane deal. So
all of it is,
air-cooled Porsches, 10 to 15K.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can get like a really nice, like 3.2 Carrera for 15 grand.
Yeah. Like an 80s
kind of feel
Targa.
like you Yeah, and be like, oh, I kind of overpaid for it, but it's like an exotic color, right? Like, or it's got these crazy options, and it was a one of like 6 that were built like this or whatever.
Yeah, weird
G50
interior. Yeah.
transmission, whatever. And now that's like a $90,000 car.
It's fucking wild that the NSX, the Mark IV Super, the RX-7, anywhere between 12 and 30K, you could score one of those fucking cars. It's just what?
Yeah,
20 years ago. Yeah,
yeah,
unbelievable. E30 M3s, 12K.
Oh yeah,
Unbelievable.
They were disposable. They were like the ones no one wanted. They're like, oh, it's a 4-cylinder, it's slow. Like it's just why would you want this? Like, it's buzzy.
Yeah,
it's buzzy.
Absolutely bonkers.
Or even just a 325i was a just absolute disposable car. The
dude,
nicest one on the globe was $3,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say $3,000 to $4,000 all day.
Yeah. Yep. But it's like, so what say 03 to 05 model year cars have you owned in your time? You had the Accord, right?
Yeah, without a list in front of me.
Just off the hip.
Good Lord, dude. I had WRXs. I had a couple of those, the wagons and stuff. The Subaru was an 05.
Yeah.
So those are your pretty standard fare items for that time period. My M3 was an 05, E46 M3. What a cool fucking car. In Imola red. What else?
Mazda TSX was like an 07, right?
What's that?
The TSX was like an 07.
Oh wait, so that was the last year of the first gen, and then I did have the I just said it. What was it?
You said Mazda Speed Miata.
Mazda Speed Miata was an 05. They had obviously the first year was an 04. Majority of them are 04. That was a cool car. They'll never do that again.
Nope. I got one behind me.
A bunch of stuff. My Cayman S was an 06. That was a little too new.
It's
right there, right? But yeah, that's. I mean, I probably have a million cars in that period. It's a good time, like because they're just modern enough. They're OBD2.
Your GX is an 07.
GX is an 07. Yeah.
Okay.
So newer.
Similar zeitgeist though.
Yeah, exactly. That car didn't change too much, and I had an LX that was from that was 06. That was
an early one, right?
06. No, that was a later one. VVTi. Yeah, that thing's worth a lot right now.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. I've had just a mixed bag of stuff from that period. I think I had a VR6 Jetta for a little while. That was right around that period.
So cool.
The VR6 is such a cool engine. It's such a cool power plant. I don't know. I don't know what else I've owned from that period. Bunch of shit.
Yeah.
How about you, man? What do you?
I've had a handful. I mean, I've got the 04 mistakes were made. Like I certainly wouldn't call the Crossfire the 04 rich. It's the 04 freshly retired, I suppose. Like
I don't remember pining over that car at all.
No, I remember the Crossfire concept was really cool. But what else? I had my 04 Audi S4.
Oh yeah,
B6 S4, which was
such a reliable car.
Yeah, right. But it was cool. Like in that time, like you had the C55, or I guess that came out in 06. I think it was still the C32.
Yeah, yep.
So C30, you had C32 supercharged V6. You had the E46 M3.
Yep.
And then you had the S4. Those were like the 3 German liter. Yeah, the German powerhouse. And they all did the similar thing very differently. I mean, obviously the BMW is the sportiest of them, and values have held up for those.
Yep.
C32 is probably the most reliable, but like the least sporty. And then in between, both the least reliable, but like you can get a convertible and you can get a sedan and you can get a wagon. So I'd love to have another one of those as a wagon, like sorted, which is good luck to that.
Yeah, right.
But that was a cool car. And there's just a lot of stuff like that in that era. S2000 is close.
Yep.
But 04 is practically the same as an 06. What else? What else have I owned of that period?
Oh, my Cooper S would be from that period too. Supercharged R53. What a cool car when that came out too.
Yeah. I had the 06 LS430, which was those are great. Those LS430s are great. That was the last year of that.
Yeah.
But 2000, I mean, there was some heavy hitting stuff. And if you want to go back to like the rich part about it, right? Like that was really the beginning of the new era for Lamborghini. So you had the
Mm.
the VW and like funded and inspired Lamborghini stuff with the Murcielago and the Gallardo. You had what Ferrari had the 360. You still had the 456 clinging to life.
Yep.
575.
When was the 430? That came out not too long after that, right?
Yeah, I think that came out in 06.
Or ballpark, yeah.
I think 06 was the 430. And just like Koenigsegg was barely a thing. Pagani, the Zonda was barely a thing. But it was like for some reason, like on the supercar thing, which is not our flavor of car, and so I don't want to burn too much time here, but like the Veyron, which was like the actual like king shit, like super hyper car. Then you had like stuff that you only saw in video games, which was like the Koenigsegg CCX and the Zonda. And that was kind of all you heard of like these like ultra super hyper cars, other than like the occasional like like Enzo Competizione or stuff that were like just special versions of like other Halo cars.
Right.
And now it's like I don't now there's like there's more Halo cars than affordable cars.
Ford brought the GT back around this time period, didn't it?
05. I think 05.
Like right there.
Came out in 05. Yeah. I think they teased it in 04.
Mm-hmm.
Probably late 03, and then it came out in 05 as the Ford GT, which is very, 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 very cool car.
I always thought of like a very affluent neighborhood or a driveway in 2004 would be like this large, oversized Cape Cod house on the coast. Mm-hmm. In the driveway is a Toyota Land Cruiser. Right next to it is the SC430. I always pictured that as like, that's 2004 rich in my mind.
04 Lexus was fucking cool.
Dude. And the Land Cruiser was such an upmarket vehicle when it came out. And the SC430 was super pricey when it came out. The first convertible money shot from Lexus. But what a good combo that is, right? You got your 3-row like off-road, still well-appointed luxury off-road machine.
Luxurious.
Yeah, and having an SC430 drop the top. Oof. That's a money driveway. And if you go back to 04 money, that's a good driveway.
I just quick peeky. Guess what the base price of an 04 SC430 was?
They had to be like 58.
62,575.
Ballpark, baby.
And that's in 04 money.
Yeah. That's an expensive driveway.
The LX was 64. And LS started at 55. The entry car in the Lexus staple was the
ES,
IS,
right?
the IS.
Okay. Wait, more than an ES?
ES was 31,725. IS was 29,435. So you can get an entry level IS for a little bit less. But that original IS.
Yeah, it had a manual. That's why.
Yeah. Yep. Which is now that's the one you want, right? That's how this always works.
Now it's double if you want that same inferior transmission option from the dealership. Yeah.
But like in 04, you can get the ES. You can get that still I think that's the last year of the original GS, or I guess the second gen GS.
Just starting. Yep.
Yeah. The GX.
So cool.
IS.
Hell yeah.
You can get the IS wagon, the sport cross. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
You've got the LS, the LX, the RX, and the SC.
Fucking fire lineup from Lexus, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Every one of those, if decently maintained, even shittily maintained, should still be on the road today, which is absolutely bonkers.
Like, what's the least reliable?
I can't. Not from that period. From that period, nothing.
I mean, none of them are unreliable, but what's the least reliable?
So many of them shared engines, like the major components. So that's probably part of it.
Yeah, none of them have anything bespoke. The most bespoke thing would be the SC with the just because of the roof mechanism.
The convertible top. Yeah.
But those are dead nuts reliable. It's like one of the most reliable engines ever produced for a motor vehicle.
Yeah,
in the 3UZ. So
I don't think anything is unreliable from Lexus.
Oh, not even close. It might be.
Yeah.
It might be the. I don't know.
Nope.
I said maybe the ES. Maybe I think
no, it's a Camry, dude.
I know,
but
I think they occasionally had some like transmission hiccupy things. I don't know.
Maybe, but Jesus, man.
You think it's a Camry, and so you just never do the timing belt service. I don't know.
Fuck it.
Ooh, want to play 04 Poor for a split second?
Yeah.
I've got I know in the quiz game today you're going to be asking me, but can I ask you a quick quiz here?
Let's go for it, dude. Yeah,
in 2004. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says 6, but 2 of them are really basically the same thing.
Okay,
so I'm going to say 5. Suzuki had 5 nameplates.
Ready? I can probably do them.
Can you get them? Yeah. So, what do we got?
I'm going to start with the weirdest one, the Reno.
No, not no 04. No Reno.
When was that Reno? It was very close, like maybe 05, 06. Okay, yeah. So let's go with the ones I know. I think Aereo was still holding on.
Aereo.
Was the SX4 out yet?
No SX4, no.
Shocking. The Kazashi wasn't out yet, I don't think.
Nope, not the Kazashi yet.
We had the Sidekick.
No Sidekick. Sidekick was a Chevy at this point, I think.
Oh, that's not fair. It's still Suzuki, though. Okay.
No, actually, you know what? I think the Sidekick was gone, and or maybe it was a Chevy. Maybe it was a Geo. No, Geo was dead in 04.
No, I think they switched it to a Chevy Tracker. You're right.
Yeah,
which is effectively a Suzuki Sidekick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going too much of the weeds. Okay, let's get it back. Grand Vitara.
Yes, they listed as the Vitara, but I think there was a trim level that was a Grand Vitara, the Gland Vitara.
Milk it. Yeah. So we're at 2. Suzuki Esteem.
No Esteem.
When did that? What the fuck? That's like 0203 probably.
There was no Esteem in 04 apparently.
This is horrible. I'm doing really bad. I've gotten 2 out of the 4.
You got 2 out of the 5.
5. Good Lord, dude. Suzuki. Oh, I'm faltering, dude. I've named too many Suzukis. I was close. All of those are so close to that time.
They're all Suzukis.
Well, that part's too.
And each nameplate probably only existed for like 6 months, and then it went on.
Why am I?
So you said the
one that's like a Metro, the Swift.
No Swift. There's no 04 Swift. The Swifties are crushed.
This is killing me.
There's one bigger than the Gland Vitara.
Oh, the full SUV, the Suzuki. Was it the Verona?
You're thinking Verona.
Verona.
Which is not what it is, but that is on the list. So
okay.
I'm giving it to you. That was their like foray into the mid-sized sedan segment.
Yeah. That's right.
Like 2 model years.
I'm picturing. So
it's a 3-row. I think it's a 3-row. It's 3-row shape.
I know I could draw it. Suzuki. Fuck, it had a dumb name. What did it begin with?
An X. It's 3 characters.
Oh,
one of them is an X. 4 if you count the dash.
Oh, this is like when they were doing, because the X90 was gone, right?
X90 was gone.
This would be the X. Did they have an L in it for some reason?
It did. That's the second character.
The XL. I want to say 9, but I think
it's XL7.
7? Okay.
XL7. I think it was a 7-seater, and I think it's the extra large 7. They were really into it. In the Verona, you got the Verona. So Aereo, Verona, Vitara, XL7. There's one more.
What kind of form factor is this car? Is it
it's a sedan. It's a sharp new compact sedan.
Can't be the Kazashi, can it?
No, this predates the Kazashi.
Okay, the
predates. It doesn't predate. I mean, it might predate.
Predates upon to catch a predator.
Exactly.
Whoa, dude, this is
pricing starts at 13,000. Well, 12,499.
That was every Suzuki. Now the Reno had to be 06. The little hatchback.
The Reno Intruder concept came out in '04.
Okay.
So I believe it probably came out then in '05 if the concept was.
I want to say there's an L in the name. Suzuki. No. I'm picturing Daewoo for some reason. I'm picturing Daewoo nameplates.
So all of their outside of the Arios sedan, all of their other the Verona and the Vitara all end in an A. This one also ends with an A.
I don't think I'm gonna get it.
The Forenza.
Oh God, yeah, dude. Forgettable.
Yes, utterly forgettable.
I believe
completely forgot the Verona.
The Esteem became the Fidenza. Fidenza.
The Credenza? No, that's a Kia. And you know what? Kia's lineup in '04 was hot garbage. How far that company has come in 20 years is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because we're '04 poor. You had the Kia Amante, the Kia Optima, the Kia Rio. They had
the Rio was the worst.
They had the Rio wagon called the Rio Cinco.
Yeah, horrible.
The Kia Sedona, the Sorrento, the Spectra.
They had the Spectra 5, which was the Protege 5. So that one was decent.
In '04, they had a hatchback, they had a sedan, and they had just what also looks like a sedan, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not like Hyundai with their accent of the time. Remember how bad the accent used to be?
Oh, dude. Yeah, it was. What was there? Did they have the XG350? Wasn't it their like luxury one? It was like a blatant, just rip off of everything. It was just utterly garbage.
Korea '04 wasn't good.
No. Korea '04, pretty poor. Saab was kind of hanging on. Yeah. You know who wasn't bad? And maybe we'll have to dedicate another episode to this manufacturer. Jaguar. Ford era Jaguar, because you had the X type, right, which was like gets bagged on, but like you can get a wagon and you can get a man. I don't know if you can get I don't think you can get the sport wagon in a manual.
You can't. You can get the sedan with a manual. You
can 2.5 only, I think, right?
The S Type R is cool from that period.
The S Type R is dope. It's kind of frumpy looking, but like they actually drive pretty good.
Supercharged V8, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You get the S Type R. You can get the you were still doing the XJ.
XJ6, yep.
That era XJ was like all aluminum bodied, very, very good car. You can get a base XJ for like nothing now.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much Jag because I feel like we're going to do that in the not too distant future. But
I know, but that XK, like Jag was that peak modern Jag? Was '04 peak modern Jag? I don't know.
'04 was good. '04
Comment.
was good for them.
Tell us.
I'm trying to think like Mitsubishi was interesting in '04. They were
it was funny, like I feel most of their lineup was like dying off, right? Like the best of the nameplates that they were making then were behind them, right? Like the earlier Eclipses were better, the earlier Galans were better, the earlier Diamante better. But we finally got our Evo in '03.
God bless.
And so, you know, that was the standard bearer. The Montero was still good. Mm-hmm. Outlander, Endeavor, fine.
I think they ran the Expo into the 2000s too.
Maybe. I think it was dead by this point.
No, it was the Montana, right? The Pontiac. What was it? The
Pontiac. Pontiac was Montana.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I went to Mitsubishi. We were talking. Pontiac was interesting. So Pontiac was on its way out on '04, where they still had the G6s and the G.
I think the G6 wasn't there yet. I don't think there was a G5, G6. No, I think we still had the Sunfire. I think that's the last year of the Sunfire, right? It was '04.
Yeah.
And then you get the Vibe. Here, let me look it up.
God, the G6 had to be pretty
Aztec.
Close.
The first year the Mondeo, the Holden, right? You had the GTO.
GTO '04 with the 5.7
was the LS1.
Yep, 350 horsepower.
Mm-hmm. You still have the Grand Prix and the Grand Am.
Goddamn, they stuffed a North Star in the Grand Prix GXP. I remember that.
Yeah, it was the LS. What do they call it? The LS.
Shit.
I don't think it was here yet. Yeah, '04 the GTP was still the supercharged V6. And then the Bonneville the Bonneville it was the Bonneville GXP
Yeah.
that you got the North Star in. And then later when you had the Grand Am GXP, that was with the LS, the 5.3.
Grand
the
Prix.
5.3 LS.
Grand Prix, not the Grand.
Yeah.
Grand Am only got the
Correct. God, 2004. Remember when Acura was relevant?
They've had their moments.
They have, but that was kind of the last. No, you know who we need to tip a cap for? Infinity.
Yes.
Like, peak.
Yep. Fair enough.
Peak Infinity.
Yeah.
I mean, you get that. You get like how in period. How just absolutely dope was a G35 coupe.
They're still, I like them, man. I hate that like some bad apples are giving them a bad name, but it's such a cool car to me. Still, I still think the original 2-door G35 with a manual with the Brembo brakes is just a good fucking car. The interiors fell apart, the paint sucked, but good Lord, VQ with that 6-speed manual and those Brembos, it's fuck it. I think it's cool as shit. And dude, they're dirt cheap.
They're dirt cheap because they've all been stolen 7 times and they're uninsurable. So I get it, but
you get that 3 sideshow discount, right? It's like,
for sure. Yeah, it's I still really would love to own one or a sedan with a 6-speed, which are really hard to find, but they're out there.
Yeah,
and like, could you argue that the later cars, the G37s and G37Ss and Q50S and whatever, like, yeah, they might be a little bit better, but like there's something so iconic of those pre-facelift, those early G35s, like the 03, 04, 05.
They looked great.
35 sedans and coupes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interior side. The exterior is great. Interiors, material sucked, but
the big chunky seats.
Yeah, and they always shredded apart like they didn't exist ever. Right. And then the clock in the middle, just like, this is not a Nissan. Let me remind you.
Yeah. Have you seen this clock? It's analog.
Ooh.
Or
they look good though. Goddamn.
Or the FX45, the original FX.
Yep. Yeah.
And the M45. I mean, there was some cool stuff. It was a good time. And then all of a sudden before you know it, you're getting shipped off in a cello crate off to South America or whatever.
Anywhere but Japan.
Going full Carlos. Yeah. Yeah. Just it's the days are behind us. I wonder, somebody's gonna have to at some point do, like, this was a shower thought of mine earlier, and not like THOT thought, but just like something that crossed my mind. So obviously Radwood's a thing, right? Like, is it too early to do like the 2000 to 2010 only festival car show? Because I was thinking about this the other day. So my son just turned 8, and for his actual birthday, which was Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, we took him to, there's this like hot pot place that we go to. He really enjoys it. So we went there, and for whatever reason, they were only playing music like from this era, like 04, 05, 06. Just like when I was in college, like they were playing that. Oh God, remember was that song? It goes, "Let me hear you say," or what? How's it go? Make him say ah, make him say ah. We don't buy no drinks at the bar. Sip champagne cause we got that dough. No. Oh man, it was like Neo or something. I don't remember who it was. There's probably somebody who's in is about to go down with Diddy. Not like that, but like he's gonna go to
I mean, let's not rule it out, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how they ended up where they are. But like, is it too early to do like I was thinking you call it like Aught Fest, because like Oz Fest was really popular, and it's like the Aught. Could you do like Aught Fest, and you have the you know, like a Radwood knockoff, but it's only the 2000 to 2010.
It's tough to say because I think we're too soon. And dude, how many cars, like take a like snapshot when you're driving down the highway next time and you're in like bumper to bumper traffic. I love doing this. seeing 90s stuff and older is actually getting harder and harder. It's like nearly impossible. And most of it's due to smog. So we all hate smog, the supervillain of the state. But when you scan around, I see a ton of cars from the early 2000s.
Sure.
Like,
are they show worthy?
Absolutely not. But
yeah,
the majority of the cars though that are doing the commute grinds, where I'm seeing a ton of mid 2000s, and that's probably a signal to how well cars are built at that time, how they're still modern-ish but cheap to run, cheap to insure. But the majority of cars out there, I feel like I see still a ton of like 05, 06s.
Yeah, to be honest. I do as well, and I think that's why part of me is like, yeah, it would be too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, too soon
to do such a show. But when's the last time you've seen like an early 2000s like of that era custom build, right? With like Spreewell spinners.
Love it.
And
dude,
like
Underglow.
OG Underglow, yes.
EG Civic hatchback, slammed, Underglow.
Just not hella flush. Like none of that, but just like proto, like the hella
the real
flush
shit. Real shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Proto modern mod stuff like sport compact car, hot import night.
Exactly.
Like
that's the stuff.
Like that was a whole scene. You had like you remember like the muscle truck stuff?
Yeah.
You had like your Dakota RTs and your X Runner Tacomas. When's the last time you've seen a clean X Runner Tacoma?
Doesn't exist.
In that like electric blue color.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, gone. And just Chevy SS. What was the S10 Extreme?
S10 Extreme, baby.
Yeah, like just there's a lot of that. Like, so yes, like I do still see like the ubiquitous faded 4M9 faded Camry and like the
Accords, tons of
a lot of those, like a lot of that stuff. Like what's fun about Radwood is seeing that stuff, the really mundane shit at Radwood. It's like, whoa, it's Chevy Corsica, whatever.
But dude, to your point though, man, when I see like a clean like 350Z from the early 2000s, holy shit,
like a perfect one. Yeah,
they look great. They look so good, and you just do not see them driving around. So, like, you take pause, and a stock WRX, for example, still looks cool. I think you got a point there. I think there are some cool cars that are getting hard to
find. The era stuff. Like
a G35, a stock G35.
Yeah, a perfect stock G35, or something that was like, I'd want to see some like SEMA builds from that era. Like just bonkers shit. Or even. I bet you there's a lot of like random concept cars from the era that are still floating around. Like, well, you had the Cadillac CN and you had the
so cool and
the Chrysler was it the ME12? What was it? M4.
It was,
I think it was called like the ME12 or the ME412.
Yep.
And like the Cadillac 16, you had like there was just a bunch of, I think Kia had like this awkward looking pickup truck thing, because of course they did.
Of course,
yeah. You know what you'd have to be careful of is just being inundated with like all the PT Cruiser modify crew. They're just gonna roll in and take over town, and all of a sudden there's like it's just a PT Cruiser meet with the timeout dolls and everything.
We're better for it.
We are better for it. You know what we're not better for?
Actually getting our quiz game show correct this week.
I think so. It's up to me. Man. It's up to me this time.
It's all on your shoulders.
It is all on my shoulders.
I'm going to pull up the ad. Why don't you explain to our fine listeners what we're about to do?
Oh boy. We're about to get our heads out of 2004 and into me hopefully not embarrassing myself while we play our print ad quiz game. It's still terribly named, even 150 episodes in, and it's going to be up to Chadwick to find, source, and then read a print ad from the 80s, the 90s into roughly, I don't know, 04. And he's going to read the print copy from said advertisement while redacting out anything super overly identifying. It will be incumbent upon me within roughly 3 guesses or so, really just 3. That rule's pretty strong.
Yeah.
To guess what the make, model, and approximate year is, I can ask for hints in between wrong answers, which I will have none. That's roughly it. I don't know. Chadwick, throw something at me. What do we got? Describe
You
it.
got this one, man. Vehicle. Oh, first off, single page ad here. None of that 2-page split bullshit. Side profile, purely the side profile of the driver's side of the car, in a nice red. And here comes the ad at you, buddy. Introducing blank. It not only gives you a glimpse of the blanks time period, it takes you back as well.
Oh.
It is a car that instantly evokes a rush of emotion, for it is at once an automobile of both classic form and visionary technology. Introducing the all-new blank, a convertible, a 2-seater, a true rear-wheel drive roadster. It is an automobile built with just one objective in mind: sheer exhilaration. Only the sheerest. And for less than what you might expect, Frank, you can drive one of your own. At the heart of its unique ability to stir the emotions is a 16-valve fuel-injected engine, short-throw 5-speed transmission, plus a racing-inspired 4-wheel double wishbone suspension system and 4-wheel disc brakes. A driver's side airbag, SRS, supplemental restraint system, gotta love that, is also standard. Blank. It's designed to not only perform right, but also feel right. So discover the pure fun and passion of driving a blank. It not only gives you a glimpse of the blank's time period again, it takes you back as well. For more information, call this number.
For some reason, you were saying like it not only gives you a case of the blanks, like the trots. What are we working with here?
The AIDS.
Exactly. Well,
let me get 10 minutes on the clock.
Oh no.
I think you got this one, man.
So you're saying the 90s. I do think it is the 90s. 16 valve, airbag, driver's side airbag, unless we're looking at a couple of manufacturers, Mercedes in the 90s or the 80s. Drivers only. When you first started reading this, I was like, this is gonna be an SSR, isn't it?
Not ruling that out.
And at 16 valve, I was like, technically, I don't know why they would do that. They would call this a 16 valve.
They remember it was fun to once say that about a car.
Right. Yeah. Pushrod V8, 16 valve. It very much reads, if this very much describes an NA Miata.
Okay.
Like, kind of aggressively so, right? And I kind of feel like I have to, like, it's red. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like it fits it so much. It's just like, it can't be that. Like, it's 5-speed, driver's airbag, 16 valve engine, rear wheel drive. Although, is that double wishbone or are those? I think that's a McPherson in the front. Although I suppose it didn't say
racing inspired 4-wheel double wishbone suspension system.
4-wheel double wishbone suspension system. And a rear driver. I haven't poked around the underside of a Miata that much, but I want to say that front end is a McPherson setup. I'm not asking for a hint there. I'm just thinking out loud. I think just to get the party started, let me just mental Rolodex. 5-speed, kind of retro futuristic technology and stuff. As our good friend at Chevrolet once said, dude, was that 04? The technology and stuff guy? That might have been later.
Yeah, that's after.
It was like 06 or something. You know what? Just to get the party started, and the more I'm slussing through this, the more I think I'm. But I have to check this box. This is a 1990 Mazda Miata. Final answer.
That would be the first year of the Miata.
Yeah.
It not only gives you a glimpse of the 90s, it takes you back as well. Introducing Mazda Miata.
Okay. All right. I was starting to I was like, I think I might be overthinking this.
You are overthinking it.
It is not a McPherson strut setup. It is a double wishbone.
Double wishbone. Yep.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
In my head, I'm like, that car is built on a price point. Like this is a Miata ad for sure, but like, I don't know. And then like they said a bunch about technology. Like there's not a ton of tech in that car. Like, I mean, maybe for the time, like, okay,
I mean, it was
like,
driving, right? It listed a ton of the 16 valve engine, right? That's pretty high tech for 89 when this ad was written. Short, and then it's all like performance stuff, right? Short throw 5-speed transmission, four-wheel double wishbone, four-wheel disc.
Mm-hmm.
It's good shit. Fun fact: Chicago Auto Show, 1989. You show up, 2 new cars are unveiled that are just going to make huge waves in the automotive world. What are they, Frank? 89, the 2 biggest cars at that car show.
I mean, the other one's got to be NSX, right?
Literal giants, my friend. Yep, the NSX and the Miata both unveiled at the same time. What an awesome car show to be at, right? Like
they both had like, I mean, knowing Honda, they might have launched that in championship white, but in my head, I feel like it would have been at the show in red.
Yeah, I think it showed up in red. The Miata, obviously, in red as well. But damn, 2 literal giants of the sports car world. Unveiled at the same auto show, my friend.
Was the SSR unveiled in 2004? Was another Titan convertible 2-seater?
Perhaps. But yeah, we hadn't done the original Miata. I don't know how we had. Great ad, by the way. Fantastic.
Ad. I think I did an M edition.
Yep, you did a later one with the 1.8. So this is the original, the OG, right? And we did a Mazda Speed as well, which I stumped your butt on.
Correct.
But yeah, no, this is a good one. We had to do it justice. The ad was so cool. It actually has an old vintage. I can't make it out from the ad because it kind of blocks half the car, but it shows an old Roadster with like ghost people driving it in the background.
It looks like a Speedster.
It kind of
like a Porsche Speedster, which is weird because I don't look at a Miata and think anything Porsche.
No, you'd think like
it's very much Lotus Elise.
Yep.
Or not Elise. Alon. Yeah, thank you. Not Elise. Very little Elise.
Very little Elise in there.
That's why there's ghost people in the background. It's time traveling.
Right. So cool ad. Absolutely. I think everybody that listens to this podcast knows how I feel about Miatas. Dude, Frank, why haven't you owned a Miata? Because I think you should.
I don't know. I've driven a few different flavors of NA. I've driven an NB.
Yep.
I've driven an ND. What's the Parlance? Like it's not .1.
Yeah, like, it's ND1, ND2, ND3 now.
Okay. I've driven an ND1.
So before 2019.
Yeah. It was I think this one was I think it was an 18.
Okay, good.
Just a Turo rental.
Yeah,
during car week this week.
Little 1.5,
this year.
Nice car.
Yeah, good, great. Like I don't, as much as I like the S2000 and it's got more specialness and it's a little sexier and I'm partial to it, but like it like a new Miata kind of doesn't give anything up really.
Yeah.
To that car, other than like some of the feels and the fizz, but it really is like
the ND2 really gave an S2000 a challenge, right? Because that's when they raised the RPM. Red line is like 75. They added 30 more horsepower. It's still balls. I think it's quite a bit lighter than an S2000 too. So it's like it's pretty serious of a car. But yeah, those came out in 2019, 30th year of the Mazda Miata.
Ah, look at that.
Cool stuff. But yeah, I love them. And Frank, I'll tell you from an ownership experience, if you want a sports car that you put in your fucking garage, put in your driveway, stick it wherever, start it up every 2 months, take it for a rip, put it back, it'll just do that forever.
Definitely.
Parts are cheap. Maintenance is easy to work. It's literally like one of the best sports cars ever made. And you know, the NAs are starting to appreciate it. And I can see like clean examples fetching money in like 10 years, like good money. So
yeah, like I think if you have, and that's the interesting thing is there's a lot of, and credit to Mazda is they didn't go too hairy with it, but there's a lot of like inside baseball, like Mazda Miata Geek Special Edition ones. Like, oh, this is the stripper model and the one called like your Mariner Blue one that you had, right?
Yeah,
That was kind of a
basically an
special
R
car, like
package.
if you know. Then there's the R package stuff, and then you've got you've got this M edition and that M edition. And did you see? And I promise this isn't a shout out to my employer, but did you see the one that I sold on Cars and Bids a couple weeks ago?
Mm-mm.
It was a 91
Okay.
SE, right? So that's the British Racing Green over tan with all of the, is it SE or LE? I think it's an SE.
SE it should be. Yeah.
They did like 5,000 in that color.
Loaded up.
Loaded up. It's wood grain, the Nardi shift knob.
Limited slip, I think, on this.
Yep, limited slip. Factory hardtop.
Nice.
Car ran 81,000 mile car. Not perfect. It had some goofy aftermarket wheels on it. They were okay. They were like 16-inch 5-spokes.
What a shame, because the stockers are so easy to source.
It came with the stock ones as well. The original ones were with it, but they looked like they've been sitting in someone's side yard for a long time. They needed to be refreshed, but they were there. Factory hardtop, some rock chips. Like the center console was like the center stack. The trim was loose and but ran well. Cold AC. What do you think it did? What do you think it sold for?
80-something thousand miles. Clean title, all that kind of stuff.
Clean title,
not modified.
California car. Other than the wheels, it was stock.
Maintenance good, timing belt, water pump, all that kind of good stuff.
The timing belt, water pump were good by mileage.
You always come to me with that stuff.
But they it was changed like 5,000 miles previously, but like 11 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, could you drive it home? Yes. Do you probably want to do it shortly after you get home?
Yes. Non-interference engine. So I understand why people drag their feet on that.
What do you think it did? Let's play the game.
I want to say like 11.5.
18,250.
That's incredible.
It blew up. Like the soft top was good.
That's not even low mileage. Good. That's insane.
No. And it was like, it had some rock chips and it had like some little like some paint imperfections and stuff, but it was like, this guy bought it. Another guy bid it. He bought it as a surprise Christmas gift to his wife. Him and his son flew in, drove it home to Austin, Texas. Like
super cool.
They took the long way and they got home. They're like, yeah, we made it in 3 days. It drove great. Everything was perfect. I was like, yeah, it's great. The clutch was a little, it's going to have to get done eventually. It's like kind of high engagement point.
Yeah. He's on the end of its life. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 10,000, 15, 20,000 more, depending on how you drive it.
There's such good cars, and that's just wild though. Yeah.
Wow, that's too much. Yeah. I thought it would do like 10. I was like,
I would say 11.5 because it is a good combo if it's been kept that well. And then the hardtop's like another 1,500. You got to remember that.
Yeah. Like any reason, it seems like any reasonably decent, mostly stock Miata, almost regardless of mileage, is worth $8,000 now. Yeah,
the only thing that modification that doesn't hurt them is if you do a quality suspension setup, because by age alone, they're not on their stock setups, right? So if you do like any kind of like I sold mine, what did I sell? My Mariner Blue had high mileage, wasn't even the original engine. I sold that for like 9,600, but I did the whole suspension over on that one. So they're so cool, dude. Like you should own one, man. Just to,
I should.
It's kind of bonkers. Yeah, honestly, that's how I describe the Miata. I friggin' park it somewhere. I forgot I own it. I go out and I beat the living shit out of it. Don't drive it normal. Don't ever do that. Take it out, beat the shit out of it.
Try and kill it.
Change the oil once a year. Most reliable car you'll ever own. And a smile every goddamn time.
The only roadblock about me owning a Miata is that it's getting cock blocked by the S2000.
I don't know,
the use cases are so similar.
Yeah.
Like unless I want to do like have a beater one.
Sure, because you're not putting mileage on your S2000. Yeah, but I think
I want to put miles on the S2000 is the problem. Like I want to put miles on that car. I'm not selling it.
I love the S2000 a ton, Frank, and you know that. But the Miata feels so much more pure.
It's more playful. I think it's more playful.
Especially mine with the non-power steering from the factory. It just you can't beat it. You just can't beat that. I think the shifter dropping right into the transmission is the most direct shifter feel you can get. You can't beat a transmission that has the lever drop into turret on top of the transmission. There's no room for slack because there is no cable. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just I think from a pureness standpoint, the early Miatas, the NA Miatas, and I think this is why they're holding their value better, is it is a purer, like it's absolutely.
I don't disagree. I mean, just steering feel alone, especially in that manual box compared to the late 90s entry level E-Pass system that's in the S2000. It's like it's big. That car's biggest Achilles heel, other than on the early cars, the murderous lift throttle oversteer,
that too,
is it's this just the absolute lack of steering feel. Like it's direct, like the ratio's right on point. It'll do what you want it to, but like you're in a vacuum. Like it's super numb.
Yeah. And I used to race them. So like, I'll tell you about feedback. I mean, it's just like unbelievable. And then like there is a huge power delta. And like, we're also talking like a decade plus of,
but I'm old now. I don't care.
But you take an old early not sorted Miata and go up in the canyons. It feels brilliant. And I'll tell you what, that extra horsepower, you don't even notice. Like it'll keep the speed through the corners if you set it up right. So
one day.
Absolutely brilliant, dude. Brilliant cars.
One day I'll own some shitter. Be a right hand drive auto. It'll just like
it's a beater. Hey, NBs are getting slept on still. You can get an NB, which is essentially an upgraded NA.
Yeah.
Chassis reinforcements, a little poundage, but not much. Fixed headlights, much nicer interior for a good price. So don't sleep on those either. They're great.
Into it. I'm into it one day.
Do it.
Are you into turning wrenches on anything lately, sir?
I'm into PCP. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, turning wrenches on your pipe. I don't. I still have not figured out how one actually does PCP.
You need to look it up.
You smoke it.
I went down the fucking rabbit hole watching like these documentaries on YouTube because I was like, I also don't know what PCP is, and we throw that joke around a lot. Let me dig in and see what it's about. It's sad. It's fucking sad. But I went there, man. You should go there too.
The PCP. Have you seen the videos of like the PCP trials? Like they did like the government trial. Like they were trying to make like super soldiers during the Cold War. And so they were just giving like young privates just like a ridiculous amount of PCP, and it's like, now run this obstacle course, and they're just like heaving hay bales and just like jumping out of 18-story like embankments and stuff. Yeah, it's good.
It's still part of my supplement regimen in the morning, but
exactly. Yeah.
Project Car Progress. I did something, Frank. I'm so happy that I've actually worked on a car. So I was driving the GX
headlamp bulb.
Huh?
Headlamp bulb.
God damn it. Close. Is it? Turn signal. So I'm driving the GX Force. I love how you know how reliable that fucking truck is. So I'm driving. I go to make a left turn. Tick, 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 tick. And that hurts my soul. Like, I hate to have a bulb out because I'm always like, look at that fucking new piece of shit with a headlight out. Who would buy a Hyundai? But anyway, so it's like doing the tick, 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 tick. So I play the fun game when I get home and check out which bulb it is, whether it be front or rear. Ends up being the front. It was $5. That GX is an unreliable piece of shit. Had to already replace the bulb from 2007. It was the original fucking orange bulb.
Horseshit.
Was interesting. You don't see those too much. I was
orange on orange.
Yeah, because it's a clear lens. So I was pretty shocked to see that.
Bulb talk.
That was it, baby. You have to take off a little shroud inside, and then you can get your hand down in there. So not too bad of an operation. Not like a Cadillac CTS where you have to pull the whole fucking front end of the car off. And
bro, I just went to go. I think I might have mentioned it on the pod that I was shooting I think it's an 03, not 04, sadly. It's an 03. It's an 02 or 03 Beetle Turbo 5-speed. Bright orange with black and orange leather interior.
So cool.
So I went to go take it out for a photo shoot, and the driver's side headlamp and the driver's side tail lamp bulbs are out. It's like, shit, I can't. And it was at night. So I was like, I can't shoot it with just no lights on. It's just
it looked like shit. Yeah.
So I just brought it back and was like, here, you guys do it. But on that car, like, I think it's something it's like a heroic repair in order to do that. Like, I think both bumper covers. I think you're pulling bumper covers on those cars.
Bro,
it's just absolute madness. But I just did on the on my Lexus on the CT200. I had the driver's bulb was out, so I did.
Oh yeah, I've done that job before. Yeah,
super easy on that car. Just so you don't have to do anything. You just reach on and unplug it with your bare hand and twist it, and that's it. Like, I sprung for like the nicer, brighter bulbs.
Ooh,
was
the
like 10
Silver
extra
Star
dollars.
Ultras.
It was something like that. I don't
Yeah.
think it was like the level above Silver Star. It
Oh,
was like
shit.
it was like $3 more for the pair instead of I went full AutoZone, baby. I got in the
Fuck
zone.
yeah.
AutoZone, if you want to sponsor the pod.
Yeah,
I
please.
actually don't think I bought. I think I got a Monument or something. But so not only did I also change a bulb, and by the way, I'm assuming that's all you've done.
That's all I've done,
That's all
baby.
you've done. I've also done, and it's you can kind of see it back here. See this gasket here, and see
Okay.
this valve cover here. I did this on Turkey Day morning, and then I haven't finished up because I need to go get a couple of screws that are one-time use aluminum screws because
What?
Mercedes Benz.
Oh, there you
And so
go.
I
That
had to
makes
go to the
sense.
deal, and I couldn't go to the dealership on Thanksgiving. And so I need to do that. But
Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you, guys. He only did the accessible side of the V6.
So I'm going to text you so I can get your reaction in real time.
Oh shit!
What was lurking underneath the valve cover?
Oh, wait. In the actual valve train?
What the top end of this motor looks like.
It's gonna be.
I'm gonna show you.
Can it be as weird as when I opened up my like 100 and what was it, 280,000 mile Suzu Trooper, and it was like a brand new head when I did the valve cover gaskets? Yeah. That was nice.
Check this out. Tell me what you see.
Holy shit!
Unbelievably pretty.
Well, what's the mileage?
47.
Okay, my Trooper. Remember my
Trooper?
Well,
yeah, that 260 like, or something, right?
Yeah, 280 or something stupid.
Yeah. But this was a church on Sunday car.
And it doesn't have as much residual oil as I thought I'd see. Is this thing oiled or not, Frank?
No, that's what I mean. Like it looks dry. It's not like it's had its oil changed frequently. It's like it's never required to have its oil changed. Like that's how sparkling it is under there. Like nothing. Like
if I scroll down,
discolored.
If I scroll down and zoom in, I can see your plastic chain guides hanging on for dear life. But other than that, it looks really good. It looks good.
But no, it's like super clean because you never know on these. And I think you've had a shit kicker once upon a time that did this, where it's like if the car never sees operating temp, right? If it's the church on Sunday, go to the corner store for my pack of Virginia Slims and then drive home kind of car. Yep. And it never gets to operating temp. And yeah, it's got 45,000 miles, 46, 47,000 miles.
And on top
of that, zero of them have been operating temp, pure sludge.
What compounds that further is like the people don't do the oil changes based on time. They do it based on mileage. So they almost never hit that mileage, like 4 years, right? So you got this old gnarly oil that's been collecting carbon. You're not doing anything.
Moisture
it can get shitty. Yeah, it can get shitty real fast.
Yeah. And this was not. I was a little bit worried. I was like, we're going to see, because I know that was kind of the history on this car was like, it was not, and I don't think it was on my DWA Rally Italian tune-up.
No, it wouldn't take care of that.
Everything looked great, and we can hold tight. Keep the people entertained for just a split second.
I think I can handle it. He's wandering back there, tiptoeing through his garage. He's not wearing pants. This is really, he didn't plan this to get on camera. Weird choice of is it bamboo material thong. I think it's really interesting, guys. He's picking up, it looks like a valve cover for a Chrysler Mercedes product. He's
okay,
close to the camera. Okay, here he is.
Here's the valve cover, and you can see how much it was leaking.
Oh yeah,
but the way and this is pretty shitty if you're just like not watching the video and you're listening along home. Valve cover. So what they do is they put this together. There's what they call the breather, which is this like piece where my thumb is over here, which is a second piece, and that is held on only with high temp silicone. Okay. And this is effectively your PCV. So the PCV is in here, and all of it was just this silicone because there's no gasket. They just
no gasket at all, huh?
Nope. And that was garbage and failing, and so that was pissing oil all over the valve cover. The gasket itself was perfect on the valve cover itself. So I got to reseal that, clean it all up, reseal it. Driver's side is exactly the same.
Got it.
And so That's what I'm up against.
Nice.
Talk to them for a second. Let me go put this back.
So I think he's trying to get out of doing the valve cover on the other side. That's what it sounded like to me. So he's gonna just replace that little breather. But yeah, still underwear choice though. I don't know how to think about this. And also, it's weird to have skid marks when you have a thong. It's weird. It's like extra mayonnaise on a sandwich if you want to think about it like that. So yeah, you guys let me know in the comments what you think about his underwear choice. Hey, welcome back.
Good. Yeah, I prefer to wear my thongs backwards, actually.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah. Splitting the D is what I like to call it.
Are you not doing the valve cover gasket on the other side? I talked to the people about that too.
No, I'm doing them. I'm doing them both.
Might as well.
I had the gaskets. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. I'm going to take us out of here, Frank. Let's
do it. Bring us on home, baby.
More crossfire fucking valve cover change, gasket change talk than we should ever have to force upon other human beings that we respect and care about, which is you guys. We care and deeply respect our listeners and our viewers. If you missed out on that Frank wearing a bamboo thong section, then please tune into our YouTube where we also post our podcast on a weekly basis.
Or avoid it.
Always plan for when you're on camera, just plan for the moment of standing up. Just always plan for it, guys. But we try to post a new episode every Wednesday on the YouTube. Check us out. Obviously, the podcast that you're listening to right now. Listen to your favorite podcast service. Feel free to leave a review for us. I have seen a couple, and there's some pretty good ones. And our reviews are pretty positive, which is, I'm more shocked than you, 3 listeners. But go ahead and leave us some feedback. We really do appreciate that. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to check out Frank's personal endeavors and his world class, I was going to say world class, beating off quality photography. Frank, where can the good folks tune into you?
You can absolutely ignore me digitally as the Photographer's Garage and all the places and all of the things. We, of course, are at APA Podcast on the IG, which is mostly abandoned. What's not abandoned is whatever you're up to, Chadwick. Where can the people see your social abandonment issues?
It's mostly abandoned. I try to get something in every once in a while. Yes, Auto Obsessive Garage, mostly on YouTube, rescues, restorations, and reviews. Also on the gram with that same handle, bro. But yeah, thanks for tuning in again, guys. We're happy to be back in the saddle and doing this on a weekly basis. So we will catch you in 7 days.
Ta-ta.
Love you guys. Take care.
Suzuki Forenza.